Hey, what's going on, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Baseball Adjacent. I'm your host, Taco Josh. That right there is America's quarterback and Mormon whisperer, Justin Arth, and not seen on the screen because he prefers to remain anonymous, is a guy that one time finished 23rd in a Luke Combs lookalike contest, and his name is Jake. If you've been around the channel for a while, you've heard his voice on streams that now are private for personal reasons. But today, we are going to do a draft of our first half performers, players. We're just going to assemble the best team, basically, of the first half. So that's going to be the way that we do things. We have to draft a catcher, first base, second base, shortstop, third base, basically like a starting nine. One of the outfielders has to be able to play center field. And to make it a little bit more interesting, we have to go one per division. So that's going to be one from the AL East, one from the AL Central, one from the AL West, and then same for the National League. Obviously, there will be repeats in there because we're drafting 11 players each, and that's the way that math works. So, boys, how are we feeling about this? What's the scale of 1 to 10? What's the confidence level?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm ready to see what you guys pick. Yeah, but hey, a nice little 7 or 8. Get this thing started.
I'm thinking like a solid 2.7 here. I've watched baseball this season. Probably haven't watched as much as I wanted to. So we're probably gonna pick most of these based off of vibes and hope it works.
And that's really what we're here to do. We're just vibing. So, Jake, obviously, as the guest, I'm going to give you the choice. Do you want to go first or do you want to defer like the Crimson Tide do so often?
It generally works out for them to defer. But I don't think the vibe's is there tonight. So we're gonna take first pick.
Okay.
Um, and I'm gonna pull a Justin here and go absolute homer vibes only, and just knock one of my outfielders out of the way, and go with James Wood.
I like
James
that.
Wood, 1-1. Any
James
explanation on the pick, Jake?
Honestly, a lot of it stemmed from him being intentionally walked 4 times today.
That did happen.
That's fair.
Last time since what? Barry Bonds?
Yeah. Had reminiscent of that 4-game series in Chicago where the Cubs fundamentally refused to pitch to Harper and walked him like 9 times, but unfortunately it wasn't intentionally. So really, James Wood is on his way to be the next great national. And by that, I mean he will win a home run derby and then sign with an NL East rival in 2 to 3 years.
I hope you're ready for Miami Marlin James Wood. Like I am, obviously. I am going to go with pick number 2. So, Justin, you're on the wraparound here.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to take my catcher here early, and I'm going to say the best catcher in baseball right now, just to get it out of the way, because I think the drop-off from him to the next guy is pretty steep, is Cal Raleigh. Not pronounced like the South Carolina town, but I do think he is one of the better options, specifically from a power perspective, and I think he's got a legitimate shot to win an MVP. And I can't really think of anybody I would rather have behind the plate. And I think there's other options at other positions. But Justin, that leaves the board pretty open for you.
Yeah, it does. And I'm really surprised you left me this guy. We talk about defense winning championships in football all the time. Well, we're trying to win this Game 7 of the World Series right here. And I'm giving me Tariq Skubal with my first pick. You talk about having an ace on the mound that can gas it up to 103 miles an hour, sits 99 miles an hour, only gave up, one hit or something today, strikes out almost everybody. As an Atlanta Braves fan, I love guys who can strike guys out. 11.03 K per 9 this season with a 9-2 record in 16 starts. 3.8 WAR. The FIP looks good. His current ERA is a 2.29 with a FIP under that at 2.13. So the BABIP is a little high, but it's lower than some other guys like Webb and Skeens. So Tariq Skubal gives me my ace and gets the pitcher out of the way. And now to stack on that, go ahead and give me. Let me be a homer here. I'm going to take Ronald Acuna Jr. in right field, and that'll lead off my lineup. There's very few in baseball that are feared as leadoff hitters in baseball. Shohei Ohtani is one of them that I'm leaving off the board, and that's going to be my Braves bias pick of the day. But I mean, Ronald, since coming back from injury, has been absolutely terrific. I mean, he's hitting, what is it? He's got a 466 BABIP, a 361 batting average with 9 homers and 18 RBIs and already 4 stolen bases through only, 146 plate appearances. So the WRC plus is a 206, so he's 106% better than an average player. The dude's balling right now. Ever since coming back, he's one of the best players in baseball, and I need that electricity to start my lineup. So give me Ronald and right.
Okay. I am going to add, because I'm thinking about it, a DH so that we don't forget to do that again. And we'll say DH is like any utility guy. Like it could be Ohtani, but it could also be anybody else that you maybe have a third baseman or something already, but you want him in the lineup. I'm not going to go Ohtani. I'm actually going to go a pitcher, and I'm going to go Skeens because I think he is the second best pitcher right now. Mizorowski probably has a case because he started pretty hot, but I do think even though Skeens is young, in a Game 7 situation with the like College World Series experience and all of that, I would feel really good about giving Skeens the ball in a winner-take-all game, which is what these are like trying to replicate. So Jake, that swings to you, man.
You got 2 in a row.
Oh boy. So I'm going to stick with the same, pitcher vibes. Obviously, we got to have a good pitcher on the bump to win us the game. The guy I'm going with does have kind of a high FIP compared to everybody else, but ERA is good. WHIP is sub 1. Batting averages against his, high 100s, and he's top 10 in the strikeouts in the league. I'm going to go with a young guy here, go with the Astros and Hunter Brown.
There's a lot of upside to that, I feel like.
Next, I think I want to, obviously we have the pitching wins championships. Still got to score runs to get to winning the championship, or we're going to be in a 35-inning sweat fest, which I don't think anybody really wants in life as much as they would probably tell you that they want that.
I'm going to have to ask you to stop being so controversial that you need to score runs to win games.
Hey, man, you never know. Man, lost your train of thought there. Sorry, I was being too controversial. It gets the people going. But I'm going to go with a leadoff guy. I want a little speed at the top of the lineup, but also have that pop. So I'm going to go get my shortstop out of the way and go with Bobby Witt.
So that leads to me. Bobby Witt, by the way, I think said he was going to be on Team USA for the World Baseball Classic. So that's sick. I have a lot of options that I could go here, obviously. And I think we're going to build the team off of just straight power, the way that this is going. And I'm going to say Aaron Judge is my right fielder. One of the best players in the game. I feel like I have a guy that could win the NL Cy Young, and now the 2 guys that are fighting for the AL MVP. And I just feel like you can't really go wrong when you have that combination of 3 guys on your team. That's all I really have to say about that. One of the better players in the league, really.
Solid picks. So that comes back around to me. And okay, it's time to go and get the obvious guy off the board. For my designated hitter, in a way, this is kind of cheating too because it's an extra reliever, right? So give me Shohei Ohtani. I'm going to take Ohtani, get the NL West at least checked off the board. I mean, add a lefty power bat to that, someone that could hit second right in behind Acuna, drive Acuna in, since Otani typically leaves off for the Dodgers too. But
Mm.
I mean, in 381 plate appearances, 29 homers, 11 stolen bases, 54 RBIs. The BABIP's pretty good, around 330. Lower WRC plus than what Acuna's got, but obviously he's played more games, so he's accumulated more WAR. 4.3 WAR again at DH with only very minimal pitching appearances.
Yep.
Shohei Otani. Obviously, you have the huge marketing presence that he brings from Japan and just the international audience. But if you want to look at a player by player basis, the dude can flat out play, and I've got to have him on my team there. So that gets my DH out of the way. Let me go ahead and move over to my third baseman, and I'm going to go ahead and take Alex Bregman to go ahead and get the AL East checked off.
Okay.
And so I really could have gone a couple different places, but when Alex Bregman is healthy, the dude was mashing. And I mean, I love Jose Ramirez. That could have probably been the obvious choice. But I want another power hitting right-handed bat there because I've got my two speed guys in Otani and Acuna. So Bregman has been hitting very well. Those stats are not popping up for me. My stat guy didn't get it to me in time. But no, so Bregman hitting pretty well before the injury. So give me Bregman.
Justin, who's your stat guy?
Myself.
Yeah. Jake, who's your stat guy?
See, when you pick based off of vibes, you don't have a stat guy.
That's a great point. Honestly, I didn't consider that. I think Bregman was having a pretty electric season was it quad injury or something?
Yeah, pre-quad.
He was on track to have a real good season, I think. So, I think that I'm going to take an outfielder that has already eclipsed 20 home runs again because power, but I also need a guy that has speed. So I'm going to take Pete Crow Armstrong to be the center fielder for my team. I think just based again on vibe, cool haircut, pretty electric, flies around the field, never makes an error, and I definitely won't edit in that error he made a couple of weeks ago. But I think he's just a great pick. He feels like the leadoff hitter for my team, I think. That's the vibe I get. Leadoff hitter, center fielder that could hit bombs, that could also steal like 50 bases in a year and no one would think twice about it. So Jake, my vibes guy.
Gotta do on the vibes here. Next pick, also gonna lock down a center field because same thing. Gonna need somebody to go get the ball when James Wood is lumbering his 6'7" self across the diamond. And while he is fast because his legs are freakishly long, I think we want a guy who can go get it with the best of them. And thankfully, this is we're doing this on a game 7, best of 1. So hopefully his injury bug doesn't affect us. But I'm going to go Byron Buxton.
Okay. I like that.
I like that.
Almost a 20 homer guy this year, has 15 bags, pretty high on base percentage. And hopefully he doesn't get injured in the one game we're going to play.
Yeah, that would be a pretty catastrophic injury. Especially considering the roster size we're carrying for this hypothetical one game.
Yeah, it would be less than ideal. I won't lie to you.
Yeah, for sure. So who's your guy on the wraparound then?
So I have to make sure that I'm doing my divisions right here. I think my wraparound guy, I'm going to knock out my DH spot here. We're going, I think instead of all gas, no brakes, we're going all mass, no brakes. So guy has a lot of swing and miss in his stuff. For somebody that still has a lot of swing and miss, still has a above 380 on base percentage with 25 homers this year. And Nationals legend for like half a season. I'm going to go with Kyle Schwarber.
Oh, interesting. Okay. I was trying to guess who you were going to say, and Schwarber was not in my mind at all. But I like that.
Who did you go with when I said Nationals legend for half a season?
Well, you were like all mass, and I was like, oh my God, he's going to bring Daniel Vogelbach out of retirement.
Would have been
So
funny.
I was like, I'm pretty sure he's like a hitting coach right now, but I would be in, I guess, potentially. Uh, I like that pick. That's a good pick. He's been a solid bat for a while, and I guess potentially he's your emergency catcher if you needed one.
That's true.
But you don't even have a normal
And
catcher yet, so can't be getting
yeah,
ahead of ourselves here.
yeah, we're getting there. Vibes.
Yeah, you're right. My bad. My bad. I forgot the vibes. All right, so I'm up here, and there's a lot of real intriguing options to me. I think, though, because this is going to do a couple of things, it's going to check the AL Central off for me, and also second base, which isn't the most deep position. I'm going to check off Gleyber Torres. He's gotten 827 OPS this year. He's got 43 RBIs, 42 walks. He's playing on the best team in baseball right now. I believe that's still true. And they won tonight, so it can't be not that untrue.
What?
I give that sentence a B minus. But he's just kind of good. I think that'll be a good guy for me to have up the middle. Yankees fans know he can't really field, but I'm not super concerned about fielding because we're just going to rake our way, and Skeens is going to strike everybody out. That's the current game plan of the situation.
Okay, solid pick. So these next two picks for me are kind of the same, but both are pretty good players in their own right. So I'm going to go and get my second baseman off the list here, and I'm going to go to the AL East and get that checked off. And I'm going to take Brandon Lau, however you pronounce his last name. So as of lately, he's really been turning it on. I've got him on my fantasy team as well, so that's partially how I know more about how he's playing. 275 batting average currently with a 129 WRC plus, positive 1.6 WAR, a 10.0 in terms of offensive WAR, so it's third in baseball currently. And the defensive WAR is pretty bad, but again, I don't need him to field very well at second base. So going to check him off to get the AL East off. And then while I flip over to my shortstop, I'll go ahead and make that selection of Jacob Wilson in the AL West and get him off the board. So I'm going to use him as my kind of 9-hitter, kind of flip the lineup back over, a second leadoff hitter to get it back to Acuna. I mean, the dude's a slap hitter. Pulling up his stats here, I mean, he obviously does not walk, so I'm really hoping for him to just kind of slap the ball around. But a 7.4 strikeout percentage too. He doesn't strike out much either. He doesn't really hit the ball very hard either, but he hits for average. 143 WRC plus. He's a solid positive fielder, 16.8 offensive WAR for a total of a 3.0 total WAR when you add in the defensive adjustment and all that to it. So getting that middle infield sorted for my team right there.
I like it. Jake, just based on your general vibe, how do you feel about you not being able to take the other guy named Jacob?
The vibe's not good. Honestly, I thought I had a legal right to that. So I'm going to actually write my congressman after this taping.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you should definitely do that. So, I'm here. I need the NL East. And I can wait on my shortstop because neither of you can take him. So, I'm actually going to go to the NL West. And I'm going to take Eugenio Suarez. Because once again, the theme for the team is hitting bombs. And Suarez hits bombs. He has 25 this season. As we record this, 67 RBIs. In a sport where it's important to score runs, Suarez is going to help us score runs, and I just think the lineup for us is stacked. I would not want to face my lineup if I was you guys. And he's also a great vibes guy, I think. And I mean that 100% racially. Jake, you're up with your wraparound. Is it Jake or is it you, Justin?
No, it's Jake.
No, it's Jake.
On the
I have the
wraparound.
wraparound this time. I'm trying to make sure my divisions. I think I need to clear NL West and AL East. Is that a correct statement?
You need
That sounds.
AL East. Yes, that is
Yeah.
an NL Central.
Oh yeah, look at that. No is missing one. I think I'm going to go ahead and get the catcher off the board. I've flip flopped between two guys. Obviously, we want the homers and the RBIs, but I think we also want a little less swing and miss in our game, and a lot more on base percentage because the name of the game is scoring runs in the pitcher's duel. That one run could mean all the difference. So gonna want guys on base, and then also. Based on vibes, I have no stats to back this up because I don't employ a stats guy because I'm broke. He at least feels like a good defensive catcher. And I know somebody's going to go fact check that and it's going to tell me that I'm wrong and he's fundamentally the worst defensive catcher in the big leagues. But on vibes, he's pretty good. But he doesn't have a good name. Will Smith.
Okay. You get the high average, and you get that he bitch slapped Chris Rock that one time. So
That's true.
We're feeling great about that, I think, for vibes.
So if we're on the wraparound here, let's see what I need here. Same thing, going for runs scored. We're going to want a guy to drive in those runs, obviously. So I think we have to go with the guy who is tied for the league lead in RBIs with Mr. North Carolina himself, Cal Raleigh. We're going to go with Seiya Suzuki as an outfield spot.
I like that. He's kind of been raking this year, huh? I feel like that's I knew he was good at baseball, but I didn't know he was like that. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, Seiya Suzuki, I feel like I always knew was good, but I didn't know he was like this good. I feel like he's having a really good breakout season this year.
Yeah, has 20 plus homers, almost has 70 RBIs. Only knock on him, I think, probably is that he's not walking as much as he could be and striking out a lot. But, homers and RBIs get you a lot of money in life.
That's true. And I think he's helped a lot by the fact that he's in the same lineup as like a Kyle Tucker and a PCA, where he's not like the focal point.
Yeah, it's probably, every pitching staff goes into a game circling guys, and there's a lot of guys to circle out there. So probably not getting as much attention as he could be, which is probably helping him out some.
Yeah, I think if people went in and they were like, this guy, I think they would. If he was the main guy, I don't think he would be hitting as well, I think is what I'm trying to say. So, this leaves. So, I'm in an interesting spot here with my pick. I think I'm going to play a little bit of Homer here and take Pete Alonso as my first baseman because, again, we just want to hit bombs. And Alonso does that quite effectively. He's having a nice year in, I guess, what's a contract year again for him. He's driving in runs when the Mets are playing well, which obviously is not currently happening. But he's had himself quite a year. I read a thing on him that he employed like an outside front office to give him scouting reports that are different than like the Mets scouting reports that they're giving the team. So that's kind of funny to me. But he, I think, is the first baseman for my team because he feels like he's at a minimum the second best first baseman in the league currently, at least statistically this year. And I needed an NL East guy. So that finishes my division thing. So I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yep. And so with my pick of the first of the wraparound, I'm going to do the same thing because all I have left is the National League Central, I believe. And so I'm going to go ahead and take another outfielder, corner outfielder. I know he plays right field, but he's also played left before. So this still can count. I'm going to take Kyle Tucker and get the Chicago Cubs off the board and get the NL Central off the board. So 291 average, striking out and walking both at 14%. That WRC plus is a 158, pretty solid. 29.0 in terms of the offensive WAR, a little bit negative on the defensive WAR, but he's the second highest right fielder or corner outfielder in WAR currently of qualified batters. So you can't pass up an excuse to put Kyle Tucker in the lineup in a contract year, in a one game, got to have it. Another power bat in there that can mash some homers. I mean, he's currently hit 17 already this year with 52 RBIs, stealing 20 bags too, which, I mean, I know Kyle Tucker has some wheels, but I don't necessarily think of wheels when I see Kyle Tucker. I think of bombs. And so get Kyle Tucker off the list. So then that opens me up to start picking anybody who I would like in the remaining positions. And so that leaves catcher, first base, and then also center field that I would still need. And there is an obvious pick that I might come back to in center field, but I'm going to go ahead and get my catcher out of the way. And yes, he plays for the worst team in baseball, but the dude can mash, and he also has some outfield possibilities as well to play out there. I'm taking Hunter Goodman at catcher. He's been one of the biggest surprises in Major League Baseball this year, hitting 14 home runs, 48 RBIs for Colorado Rockies team that obviously is so bad. He's one of the bright spots of this organization. Doesn't walk a lot, strikes out a lot. So I'm thinking of him as kind of like my 4-hitter, maybe 5-hitter, that I can be okay with a lot of strikeout percentage there as long as he can mash a homer and drive some guys in. WRC plus looks okay. It's 20% better. Defensive WAR is not terrible. It's positive. And still 1.8 WAR total for Hunter Goodman. So get the about to be All Star off the list because we're going on how they're playing now. I could have taken William Contreras, could have taken Alejandro Kirk, another good offensive catcher, but give me Hunter Goodman because of how he's playing this year.
That's fair. He is the literal one bright spot for Colorado this year. So shout out you guys. Any Rockies fans that made it. Gosh, how far in are we? 30-ish minutes into this video. Shout out you guys, because you guys are troopers, especially if you made it through 30 minutes of this BS. I'm going to go reliever. I'm going to bite the bullet on a reliever here, because there's only really one that comes to mind, and I want to make sure he doesn't get taken. So I'm going to take Josh Hader, because he's 22 for 22 on saves this year. He's kind of nasty from the left side. It feels like he's found it again. He had kind of a down year last year, and I think we were all a little concerned. But he seems to have found his stride again this year. He's got a 172 ERA. Again, he's 22 for 22 in save opportunities. Racking up some strikeouts. That's the guy that I want to come in relieving Paul Skeens in this game. You go from a hard-throwing righty to a weird hard-throwing lefty, and there's no way we lose. Zero chance. You guys are doomed. So, Jake, how we feeling?
We're feeling. Am I on the wraparound here?
Yeah.
You are.
Okay. I guess there's no particular order I need to do this in, but I guess we'll do the first one first just to knock out the rest of my divisions. Get the AL East out of here because it's obviously of the East divisions, the subpar division. We're going to get the third base out of here, and we're just going to go with Junior Caminero down in Tampa. Little solid third base option. Probably going to be a bottom of the lineup bat for this one game adventure, but I think it serves us pretty good.
Yeah.
As for our first base option here, I'm just going to rattle you off some stats here for the viewers and for Justin and Josh, just to see if they can, figure out who we're going with here. So we got a first baseman who is a pure vibes guy, just straight up vibes guy, 100%. He also falls into the category, which I think is always good. If your team has to get into a street fight, you want a guy who can finish it and win for you. I think you
Before
always
you
need
say
that.
the name, are we allowed to guess?
I mean, you can as I rattle this off because the stats I have are funny for this.
Okay.
I've employed a stats guy for this one guy.
Okay.
This man is hitting above 300 so far this year. On base percentage, not super high, not super high above the average, not walking a lot. Almost has 20 doubles this year. Home run numbers aren't as high as you would like them to be, only at 10, but tied for in the top 3 of RBIs for first baseman. Also, 10 bags on this year that he has ripped, stolen 10. So any guesses?
No.
I already know who it is because I'm looking at first baseman stats.
Yeah.
So
Is it Bush?
I'll let Josh go.
It is not Bush. Also, Bush almost became the pick based on vibes because everybody loves a good Bush. And by that, I mean a Bush Light. Get your mind out of the governor.
Okay. My bad.
But no.
Yeah, well, this guy, here's another hint. This guy has a brother
It's true.
that plays Major League Baseball
Luis Angel Acuna?
and plays first base. His brother plays catcher.
Oh, Wilson Contreras?
Nope, the other one.
They
both played in Cleveland at some point in their career.
Naylor?
Yep.
Where is
Josh
he
Naylor.
at? He in Arizona now?
Arizona.
Yeah, he's in Arizona. I think I was just so taken back by the fact that he's ripped 10 bags this year.
That's fair. So I made some notes for this, and some guy somewhere in the league, and this is going to sound super dumb after the sentence ends, but somebody in the league has 0 stolen bases. And I don't remember what guy it is. There's actually probably a lot of guys that have 0 stolen bases.
There are a lot of guys that have 0 stolen bases.
Yeah, that'll come to me in a minute as I go through my notes. But I like that pick. Do you think he gets traded at the deadline, Jake?
I mean, I think it's possible. Obviously, he's swinging it pretty good, and generally, if you're swinging it good and the deadline comes along, always a candidate to be traded.
That's true.
Just depends on how many Waffle House franchises the other team can offer in the trade.
That's a great point. All right. So I'm done with divisions, I believe. I'm going to double check to make sure that that's true. NL. Yeah. Oh, is that true? I think I need... No, it is true. There you go. I mind gamed myself, but then I mind gamed myself back, and that's how real podcasters do it. So I need a shortstop still, and I need an outfielder, and then I need like whoever. So I think just to add to the electricity of the general team, I'm going to draft Ellie De La Cruz. Is he statistically the best shortstop in the world? No. Arguably, I'm leaving off the best shortstop, which means he's probably not going to get drafted. But I think strictly from vibes and potential of things might happen while he's on the field and speed, he is absolutely the guy. Now, does he have plays at shortstop where it looks like, damn, they need to move him into the outfield? Absolutely he does. But what shortstop doesn't? Look at Tatis, who they never moved to the outfield, obviously. But I think that just from an electricity standpoint, and he's a switch hitter, and I could stick him pretty much anywhere in the lineup and feel fine about it, he's the pick for me.
Solid, solid. So with my last wraparound that I'll have, I'm gonna go ahead and stick with the reliever till the end because I've kind of maybe got a different reliever pick, and I think maybe this first baseman pick might surprise you as well. So there's three kind of obvious names if I want to go by players playing really well this year. I could very well go Freddie Freeman. I could very well go Jonathan Aranda. I could very well go Ryan O'Hearn at first base, but I'm not going to do that. So before the podcast, me and Josh spent some time just looking at StatCast and some other stuff over on some Baseball Savant pages and all this other stuff. I mean, I've got to take Matt Olson as my first baseman. He is tied for the top line in terms of defensive WAR and also defensive runs saved and first baseman. So playing like the best defensive first baseman in baseball, and he's still got a 13 positive WAR as an offensive player. Hit 15 home runs already this year, 52 RBIs on a Braves offense that is so inconsistent. Right now, the BABIP's a little lower than like your Jonathan Arandas and Freddie Freeman's, but you look at that Baseball Savant page, and he's red in almost everything. And even with that, he's still hitting 258. So there's big improvement. That slugging percentage is a little down. WRC plus is a little down, but I'm going to chalk that up to kind of being a little unlucky with how great those Baseball Savant numbers play and then what he gives defensively. So give me Matt Olson as my first baseman of this team. Now let me wrap around to center field. And I had to take a Brave. I love Freddie, but couldn't take Freddie there just because I knew what I'd be coming around to pick here. And in reality, it's not really a question. So guys in terms of performing well this year that I could have taken, like Cody Bellinger, Julio Rodriguez, those are bigger names, but they're not performing maybe as well as this guy here. So give me the Dodger Andy Pages in center field.
Okay.
He's played some games out there, mashing 16 homers, 55 RBIs, stealing a couple bags. He's got 6 bags. One of the better BABIPs of qualified hitters through this point of the season. Pretty solid WRC plus at 128. Not terrible defensively. He's got a 6.1 defensive WAR, 11.1 offensive WAR for a total of a 2.9 total WAR. So another one of those breakout players, giving some breakout players some opportunities to fill in my lineup and be towards the bottom half of that lineup. But still, they're performing really well in Major League Baseball and might be dangerous even though they may not be the big name brand yet.
Where do you stand on his All-Star game voting? Because I feel like that was a name that was circled on like, why the hell is this guy higher than insert any other name?
Well, and that's the thing. I actually think he deserves an All-Star bid over Teoscar Hernandez. And Teoscar's not played well at all this year, but that's kind of Dodger bias, I think, Dodger votes or Ohtani votes gets all the Dodgers in. So if you're weighing those two outfielders, it's Andy Pages all the way.
I would I would generally agree. I think the numbers are there. I think people are just mad. They're like, well,
Yeah.
this is not very fair. But no one was. I don't recall people being super mad when like 8 Kansas City Royals started that one year because it
Yep.
was like endearing because they're a small town team.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
It's just because it's the Dodgers, and we all know what they do in terms of deferred contracts and how they're probably going to easily win.
yeah, which is fine. Shout out them. If you're able to do it, you should do it. I'm gonna make mine quick. I need a corner outfielder, and I'm gonna take the best corner outfielder available in Juan Soto because he just feels like a great guy to pick. If we're honest, I'm a little surprised he fell this late. And there's not a whole lot else to say about that. Is he having the best year? It wasn't going well early. What's up?
I was one of the ones chanting overrated when he struck out in that New York Atlanta series. Just saying. That's
Yeah,
my
how's
nitpick.
that Atlanta season going there, Justin? That's what I have to say to that.
What happens when you play the Mets?
Well, right
Or when
now
the Mets
everybody's
play the Braves?
winning. He'll turn around.
Did you did you choose him because it's Pride Month and he's non-binary?
Yeah, and he's also autistic, apparently. I was told by a very reliable source on Twitter that both of those things are true. Jake, it's up to you here, man. Last two picks, wraparound style. What are you feeling?
So I guess we'll start with my second baseman. A guy that I think skill wise and numbers wise probably flies under the radar to most. Not in a big market team, and unfortunately, the only reason he was in the news recently was because of some fan interactions. But he is quietly putting together a pretty good season. Has an OPS above 1 this year. So we're going to take Ketel Marte as my second baseman.
Very good
Okay.
pick.
I like that.
Adds to the vibes because he's a switch hitter. And we love being switch hitters around here. Matchups, obviously. Then for my pitcher, is a guy that stats wise is I would say consistently in the top. Maybe this year has blown more saves than he's comfortable with, but the numbers are still there. We're talking sub 1.2 ERA, sub 1 WHIP, batting average against in the low to mid 100s. But the stuff's there. I think maybe the defense behind him is a little suspect because the offense is picking him up. He does have 3 wins on the year, which is great unless you're a closer. So I'm going to go with Andres Munoz.
Okay. Out in Seattle?
Yep.
Okay. I like that pick. Kind of dominate with him in the show. So I am pro Andres Munoz. And that leaves me. I have the last hitter pick in the draft, and then Justin, you have literally every reliever in the major leagues besides Hader and Munoz. I think. Let me go through some notes here. Isaac Paredes, by the way, is the guy I was thinking about. He has 0 stolen bases somehow this year and 17 home runs because Houston into left field is a little league ballpark. That's not the guy that I'm taking, though. I'm going to take another guy that just deserves to be on one of our teams, and I think we're going to get yelled at if he's not somewhere. And I'm going to take Jose Ramirez as my DH because he's one of the best hitters in the game, and it just feels like it's something that needs to happen. And honestly, I think that makes my lineup just unbelievable to try to get through. Even with elite pitching. He needed to be somewhere on a team, and so he's going to be on mine with the last pick of the draft somehow. So, Justin, you got every reliever in the big leagues to pick from.
I do.
Who are you going with?
So I'm going to go a little unconventional with it. So a lot of my picks have maybe not always been the biggest name player, but it's the ones that have been performing this year. And we're going to throw Randy Rodriguez from the San Francisco Giants on there. He leads all relievers in total WAR. He's at an 0.75 ERA. The expected ERA is up at a 2.28, so obviously maybe getting a little more lucky than good. His FIP is 1.29, but I mean, the dude strikes out 13 guys per 9 innings, doesn't walk a lot of guys. I mean, throws some gas. The BABIP is pretty low. He's not really saved games this year for them in 35 appearances, only had 1 save on the season. But I would like to give Randy Rodriguez and the hot hand a chance to go save a game after Scooball gives me 8 innings.
Yeah, I don't mind that pick. I remember was our team of the month last month that we just dogged on him because he had no saves.
Yep,
So look at you. You've come full circle in a month.
we have. Well, I have.
So that's the draft. These are the teams. I guess in the comments, let us know who would win in this game because I am 95% sure it's me. But I'm pretty sure Justin and Jake would say the same about their team. I assume. Jake feels good about the vibes of his team at least.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
vibes
and
are pretty good over there.
I think baseball is like 30% mental, 50% vibes, and like 70% pitching. Um, Nobody do the math on that, by the way.
Hey,
I'm a
Yogi
trained
Berra had a quote
professional.
similar.
Yeah, I deal with numbers on a daily basis. I
Not
kind of
well.
got fired from that job. We won't talk about that. But yeah, based on vibes, I think every good memorable World Series win, I think comes from a team that you're like, damn, why are these guys here? But they had the vibes, and it paid off. And parades go on forever. Only on the weekends, though. I have to get to work. Please don't block the road. So I think on vibes, we got it.
I don't think the parades go on forever. I think it's the banners hang forever. I think that's the way that goes.
Yeah, that might be true. In my
It,
heart, though, the parade is still going.
I'm not even going to lie to you, and I know this is like a wild turn from baseball, but an infinite parade sounds like my personal hell. Like, that is just something
It's
I'd want no part of.
it's a parade in your heart. I think you should. I should probably see a doctor about that, though. So
I guess if you made it this far, let us know who won. It's going to be a graphic on Instagram. Jake's face might even be on it without his consent, and we'll face his legal team because he might have a legal team, but he doesn't have a stat guy. Jake, before we leave, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What's your biggest baseball hot take?
biggest baseball hot take.
Yeah,
Um,
could be anything. Like, could be about this year, could be
probably
about a player.
yeah. Unfortunately, I've come around on my biggest hot take. So my biggest hot take used to be that I was like the most anti pitch clock guy of all time.
Okay.
Um, and now I've kind of come around on it. And is that in part due to having to sit through watching a kid in a high school game pick off 11 times in a row? Maybe. Um, Honestly, it probably influences it a lot more than I'd be willing to admit. But um, it is nice, every once in a while, I'm like, oh, I want to go catch a game. And I'm like, oh, cool. This is only like a 2.5 hour adventure and not like a 4.5 hour adventure.
That's fair.
But outside of that, I don't know that I have a scorching hot take.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think that's going to do it for the episode then. And if you made it to this point in the episode, Jake is going to give you a random player to comment. If you comment it, we'll pin you. So, Jake, give us a random player for people to comment.
Does this have to be active?
No, could be any player ever.
Anybody.
Cool. Steve Lombardozzi, Nationals legend.
Good luck spelling that. Thank you guys for watching. Hit subscribe if you made it to this point. And maybe next time Jake will do a face reveal. TBD. TBD. He likes to remain anonymous for legal reasons.